the erstwhile president and great unindicted co-conspirator. I'm not sure exactly. Partly, the reason I find myself, I only learned this a couple of years ago, and you can see it on YouTube. Nixon decides to screw Cavett, I think it's titled, from the Nixon tapes. There he and Haldeman, for young folks, this was one of Richard Nixon's assistants, henchmen and lickspittles, said, we got to get Cavett. Who is this? What is Cavett? Haldeman says, well, he's the worst. He's always loading the show where the Nixon cuts in with, but what are we going to do? Anyway, it contains the immortal line by the chief executive, how can we screw him? In Nixon's inimitable delivery. We're working on that, I think is how it ends. Partly it had to do with the fact that I testified that John Lennon should not be deported from the U.S., although Richard Nixon's administration and Richard Nixon wanted to. That again was Haldeman. There's a tape somewhere where Haldeman says, this Lennon, he could sway an election. And that was enough for Tricky Dick to hear. It's a shame about Nixon. I wrote 2 really good blogs about him on my New York Times online blogs, Dick Cavett, NY Times. I just read them, and they're better than I thought when I wrote them. One of them is very funny and very embarrassing at the same time. But I mention in them that the shame about Nixon is that he was certainly the most intelligent president we had had in a long time. And his remarkable brains and legal grasp and intelligence were so tragically wasted by his criminal personality.